Have you seen this? Both a requiem for a healthy planet and the monoculture. This ambitious special touched on every facet of mainstream pop culture to simply get everyday viewers to not be irresponsible slobs.
Welcome to Have You Seen This?
The world's only podcast about obscure, overlooked, and misbegotten media.
All discussions will be spoiler heavy.
You have been warned.
This show would not be possible without the support of our patrons. If you would like to support our show, join us at patreon.com/haveyouseenthis. Patrons get the show a week early, and $5 supporters also get access to our Discord. Or you can tip us at our Ko-fi. Visit the link in the show notes. And how did that go?
It's complicated.
Okay, can we do a fun one next time, please? Please? Please?
Right. I feel like maybe because this one seemed pretty easy because I remember seeing it as a kid in the 90s, the cusp of the 90s, not quite the 90s, not quite the 80s. But then I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, oh, this is more like Threads. It's the fun, all singing, all dancing, star-studded American version of Threads. Because this was a special that had, I think, everyone in it. Everyone that you would have known or cared about, much like Earth.
Yeah, up to and including Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
What is this, Tim?
This is 1990's Earth Day special.
Yeah, remember Earth Day?
Yeah, it was when this was a much more innocent time when media networks, mainstream TV would acknowledge that, the environment is important because we all live in it.
Yeah, there was at least a pantomime of caring about the Earth.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, fast forward to 2025, and I think the current administration has just outlawed caring about the planet because that's too woke.
Yeah, it has been a concerted effort to get people. I'm sorry to get people to turn a blind eye and throw their hands up in futility, so that a small oligarchy of already rich millionaires and billionaires can continue to sacrifice our entire species' well-being, so that line go up.
Yeah, you know that big turd that you just can't flush down? It's back.
Great. Yeah.
But put a plastic bottle in your toilet tank to save water.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. I mean, we've seen the light that, in fact, like I left a comment on BBC US just linked to an article. Well, the headline was everyone has an impact. How to start reducing your environmental footprint. And even then, like this is the Guardian. They're like, governments and corporations bear a huge portion of the responsibility for climate change. But what can individuals do in the face of such massive global threats? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe hold those governments and corporations accountable, because like we have been doing our part.
Yes,
it's the other guys who haven't been holding up their end.
God, I can't believe those people turned out to be disingenuous. I said I wasn't going to sound like a doomer. I said to myself, Jen, don't. Right out of the barrel, don't just be like, that's fucking funny. Like, how'd that work out? It's like, I'm doing it. I'm sorry. The fact is that we are not dead yet. And while this seems, I don't want to say fatuous in 2025, maybe a little naive, maybe a little neoliberal.
It's a couple of things, and like I said, it's complicated. Like the climate itself, which is why anyone who doesn't understand it will be like, oh, it's probably a hoax perpetrated by people who want to help mankind.
AKA
where the big money is.
Homo.
Yeah. and that does fit into it, even just like your slur there, because it is easy to just fall into like what Jen's saying, like, how'd that work out? Because I had, an initial intro for the show that was that sort of lazy, like, we didn't completely solve global warming. What a stupid bunch of, disingenuous, charades the special was. But that's really not the case. I mean, the fact is we have been let down in terms of actually giving a shit about environment. Bush v. Gore 2000. That's a place to start. You'll notice watching the special, which again is a fun celebrity, star-studded event that also reminds you, like, oh, we are killing the planet and ourselves. Like, we do not have much time. But in all these segments where it's like, yeah, like Jen is saying, and yeah, there is the contradiction of, why don't you use individual actions to solve systemic problems?
Right.
Where it's like the liter bottle in the toilet tank or whatever is not like what the difference is. The difference is that, a cruise ship puts more pollution into the air in a year than all the cars in the world combined. It's shit like that.
Sure.
So you'll see that there do seem to be a lot of, like you say, kind of these facile recommendations of like, hey, sort your recycling or recycle at all.
Right.
Just really simple ideas in this that it's easy to just give in a cynicism, say, well, that's not going to work. But then you already notice, like, oh, we do all these things. Like, there is recycling in, like a McDonald's. Like, people are sorting their garbage. People are using less. People are, reducing their environmental impact. Like, everything is more energy efficient. People are recycling things. We aren't using styrofoam anymore. Like, there have been all these huge environmental impacts. But again, like, say the global temperature increasing by 1.5 Celsius every year, it happens so gradually that we don't really even notice.
Right.
So whether it's the cart and the horse or the tail wagging the dog, there are a lot of things in the special where it's just like, just recycle a fucking bottle. Like, if that's all you can do, like, just cut the rings on your New York Seltzer 6-pack.
Oh man,
like,
I love New York Seltzer.
Yeah, the glass bottle, 100% recyclable, ensconced in a styrofoam label, which is just there to just devour the ozone layer. And you're like, what could better encapsulate the 80s than that? Other than like a McDonald's ashtray.
God, I love grinding out my Marlboro and the remnants of my Filet-O-Fish meal. Feels good, man.
Who says you can't enjoy both things at once?
Indeed. But you raised so many interesting points, Tim, that I hardly know where to start. In fact, this special is like kind of a rich jumping off point because as much as it is sort of a bummer to watch and to think about and to talk about,
it really is.
There's also so much to think about going forward, especially now, because just to start with one point, as you said, we did internalize a lot of the messages in this special. And a lot of that has to do with, as you termed it in the intro, the monoculture, which isn't really a thing anymore. I mean, we're not all gathering around to watch
Murphy Brown.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like winter. It's a thing that we used to have regularly.
But there are still ways of moving the needle. Like, we've moved on to a different era where the real mass communication medium is social media. And the idea of eating a Big Mac out of a styrofoam container is somewhat anathema. Like,
yeah,
we don't really do that
R.I.P.
anymore.
McDLT, but...
Right. So we do have this capacity to learn as big-brained primates. We also have a tendency to fuck up a lot.
Yeah, we can learn up to a point, and we are past that point.
Yeah, but it's not all lost yet, because the fact that Tim and I are sitting here still doing a podcast says a lot.
Yeah.
I could be doing literally anything else with my time, but I'm doing this. So, hey, like, I still have a little bit of like leisurely time to spend talking about this television special from 1990.
I mean, it's not a question of leisure time. I mean, I guess if things had proceeded without the special, or just, the zeitgeist changing course, I mean, you would probably just have a diesel engine car idling in your driveway while you're burning garbage in your backyard.
Just like permanently idling in case I need to make a quick getaway.
Right. Yeah. Well, it helps heat the house.
Right. Oh, and there's also, of
Yeah.
course, the post-apocalyptic murder gangs.
Right. Yeah. That is the biggest environmental impact that is not addressed.
They cut that. It was too edgy for the audience of 1990.
No, the murder gangs backed out at the last minute. It was a shame.
Yeah, well, there's not a
But
lot of
they.
money in murder ganging these days.
Yeah. Too bad.
They've all moved into hedge funds.
Huh. Yeah, they're moving. They're murdering more people at a slower rate. But it averages out.
But yeah, Tim, what made you think of covering the special? Because the other day, just randomly, you texted me the IMDb link to this with like a little thinky emoji.
I would have to recheck the cast, but it was something like, I think I fell down like a Julie Brown hole. Oh,
You wish.
would I be so lucky? Yeah. No, it's like she was in something uncredited, and then it goes. Then I just kind of scrolled down. It says Earth Day special. I'm like, wow, I haven't thought about that in, 35 years.
And it's not even the Julie Brown that you were thinking of.
Right? Yeah,
This
it was
is
the downtown one.
Julie Brown.
Yeah, when I'm really more of a San Fernando Valley Julie Brown.
We stand.
fan. Yeah,
Check
yeah.
out our Earth Girls Are Easy episode.
Yes, and I did. As I said, it's a special I hadn't thought about in 35 years, except for some things that have not left me since, which again is a testament to the production, because as I think you acknowledge, it is a polemic.
Yes.
The irony being that, as you know, I am immune to propaganda. Like it even says so on my social media.
Thanks, Garfield.
Yeah. But the interesting coincidence is that all of my opinions on the environment happen to exactly match what I saw in this Earth Day special. So good for them for agreeing with me and being right.
Yeah, because the thing is that while this is definitely not perfect as a manifesto, this is not really written from the point of view of, say, an Earth First activist or something like that. But there are some points which are still salient. There is some effort to put a lot of the blame where it belongs, which is on the the people in power who are polluting on an industrial scale. And a lot of the actions that they tell you that you can do are, like there are consumer things, but there are also things which are actually like not a bad idea, like organizing within your community.
Yeah, things that are just a good idea in general. It was a well-crafted and, like Jen says, maybe a bit naive piece of propaganda, because it is easy enough to assume, not knowing anything about the Earth Day special, like say if you're a person under 40, to be like, oh, I know what this is. This is Ed Begley Jr. and like and like Jane Fonda and like a bunch of multicultural kids, like in a drum circle singing "Kumbaya" or something. It's like, no, it is a like point by point takedown of basically like negative bad faith attitudes that are preventing people from taking action to just basically save our own goddamn species.
That's actually one of the really good points about it, is the fact that it introduces you to many, many bad faith dickheads that you will encounter.
Oh, absolutely.
And
like,
I did appreciate
even the
that.
framing device. Yeah.
Yes.
The framing device is to just like, TV watching schlubs. It is a real life couple of Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
And is her being like, hey, we should watch this Earth Day special. And Danny DeVito's like, I don't want to watch. I just want to watch Jeopardy or whatever. He is a stand-in for the member of the audience that is legitimately, why the hell do I want an Earth Day special?
Yeah. Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the easy answer to that is because it has a lineup that would bankrupt 20th Century Fox,
Right.
which
And
they don't need any help getting bankrupted now, but
well, a
at the
lot
time
of
it was pretty significant.
yeah. Sorry, I stepped on you a little bit there, but I was going to say that this is pretty much like a cast of thousands and a thousand elephants, like big names here, like either working at scale or donating their time, because
Hmm.
hey, like this sounds like a positive message, and I'm sure a few of them even legitimately cared about the Earth.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I
like
mean, I
Kermit
could
the
see Kevin
Frog, he
Costner.
cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Costner. Yeah, all the all
Yeah.
the all the all the people who begin with K, I guess.
Hmm.
No one else
That's
gave
how
a
you
shit.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm just here for a paycheck.
But yeah,
Although I
so
couldn't imagine there was much of one. I'm sure everyone here was working for scale.
oh yeah, 100%. I think that the gambit here was to be like, hey, like these very socially important people care about the planet. Why don't you? To and
Right?
it does end up being a little bit disorienting because you have in the same special you will have like entire casts from some of your favorite
Hmm.
shows. You have cartoon characters and puppets
Yeah,
addressing
they
you.
it had
You will have name act extremely well known actors that you will instantly recognize telling
uh-huh.
you, "Oh, I'm Jane Smith, and I have a daughter who died of leukemia or something like that."
Yeah, mesothelioma, which you
Yeah,
still get, ambulance chasing ads about, still a thing.
still a thing in spite of Jane Fonda's best efforts. Yeah, like Jane Fonda plays the
And
mother of like a cancer patient. And you're like, wait, that's Jane Fonda, but she's not playing
yeah, and
herself. But in this other one, Michael Douglas plays himself. It's
yeah, and also that it is still a problem is something that is addressed by who would have been Batman himself at the time, Michael Keaton.
yeah. God,
Like
he had
this.
just played Batman. That's crazy. Because
Yeah,
Batman
yeah,
came
and
out in
he
19
played.
summer '89.
Yeah, and he's there as a I don't know, a successful business executive. You
Yeah,
know,
with a
sort of a
conscience.
right. So yeah, he understands that, playing Batman. But yeah, this movie it is, or this TV special, it is just a checklist of how can we. And I realize the phrase has curdled since to mean nothing, but it's like how can we have a big enough tent to get everyone interested in Earth Day? And man, do they go for it.
Yes.
I mean, because it starts with like Bugs Bunny introducing Robin Williams, and Bugs Bunny just kind of like throwing shade at him too, which is great because
Yeah.
he starts off like, oh, this is because he does his regular Bugs Bunny shtick about this isn't the Azusa Carrot Festival.
It's no Claremont Parsnip Festival, but as root vegetable festivals go, it's quite good.
Or like the Wisteria Festival in Sierra Madre, which I thought it was that Humphrey Bogart movie, but no, it's something else.
And you can't see the wisteria, it's locked up.
Oh yeah, it is hell of a thing. I'm just glad it didn't burn down the other week. Speaking of global catastrophic climate
Disaster.
change, God damn it. Um,
Let's see,
yeah,
we're 20 minutes in. Okay, I can do this.
but yeah, Bugs Bunny shows up to be like, "Oh yeah, this is Earth. This is a nice place to live." Well, until man showed up, and as a
Mm-hmm.
rabbit, he's got a point. Well, actually, like the way he puts it, because it is so well written. Although Jen, like you say, perhaps a bit naive because it is sort of
It puts a lot of faith in in American institutions such as television.
oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. So yeah.
I will say this: the special is at its best when it walks the very fine line between it synthesizes cynicism and
Hmm.
optimism in a strange way.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a parade of some very well crafted straw men
Yeah,
because all of those are bad faith arguments about like why should I care about the environment? It so much for global warming. It's snowing now.
yeah.
It's like, motherfucker, you live in a place where it doesn't normally snow. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
It anticipates all those ruined Thanksgivings alluded to
Right.
in hysterical think pieces over the last few years.
God damn it. Yeah, I know. So Bugs Bunny's like, yeah, Earth was okay until man set foot on it. And, cue Robin setting his foot on the rabbit hole where Bugs Bunny was. And I know that even recently, we've kind of dragged Robin Williams just for his material and how just rote it is. But in this, it actually kind of fits because he's just doing crowd work as he is playing a character from the 4 stock characters that he plays.
But this time he's every man.
Yeah, he is a motor mouth preacher who is there to just make a bunch of trite observations about like, oh, this is like the future of this is the history of mankind.
Yes, and with that kind of like ass patting that we as humans did until quite a bit, like throughout history, where it's like, God, we're so smart and special, and like we've fixed everything with our big brains, and some things kind of suck, but it's getting better all the time. So let's all feel good about ourselves as humans.
Anything that is a problem we can fix because we've solved every problem up until now. Not, leaving aside the fact that it took a certain amount of will to solve those problems. And that, I think, ultimately is what the special is about. Because, like you say, like, this takes place in this set, which is just your generic small town America, where he's kind of holding this impromptu sermon at this gazebo. And he's asking people to basically, give themselves a pat on the back for being smart and, being mankind and getting yourself out of the food chain and inventing fire. And basically, to paraphrase Douglas Adams, taking the earth for all it's worth, because who's going to stop us? And it does really establish that duality of like, we can do anything we want for better or worse. Like no one's going to stop mankind from doing anything except maybe its own hubris.
Right. And I do appreciate the sardonic tone that they start off with right off the bat. Because it isn't just blowing smoke up your ass about we can do anything. Like there's like there's a cynical edge to this that I do appreciate.
It isn't being naive.
Yeah. And I know I've been vocal on this very show about my feelings about Robin Williams as comedian, sometimes actor. And this still isn't exactly my brand of stand-up comedy, but he is ruling that room.
Right.
Like, and I'm pretty sure this is largely off the cuff, and he's got the audience like in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, it is. His style of comedy is very appropriate there. And also, it's 1990 and it's Robin Williams. Of course, like, he is a fantastic way to start the show off because everyone was, like, totally into his thing at the time.
Yeah.
So, and he's pretty much there as a stand-in to be like, this is what mankind is, like, the good and bad part of it. Like, the real, like, self-aggrandizing, capable of great things, but also incredibly callous and selfish encapsulation, embodiment of mankind.
Yes. But wait, every man, there's a big lady in the sky who's got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense, too. It is Bette Midler, who, for younger people, you might not know who that is.
Washed up psycho Bette Midler.
And she has a bone to pick, which is based off what Robin Williams has been saying. It's like, oh, you think you're the only one who deserves to live here? Like, mankind can be very insular and be like, yeah, we rule. Everything else is just here to serve capital. It is that sort of growth at all costs capitalist mindset. Is like, oh, we can just take whatever we want.
Yeah.
And the earth is just like, fuck you, you stupid monkey.
And then also taking on another idea, which has definitely curdled by 2025, that kind of way of kicking the can down the road is like, hey, we got problems, but we're so smart and we have so much technology. Like the smart people will solve it for us, like, or the tech people. And
it's up to the children of planet Earth, because the adults in the room sure as shit aren't going to do anything about it.
Right. And I think that, in the current year, we've all seen how putting our faith in the technocrats has worked out so far.
Yeah, institutions will not save you.
Yeah,
I have that embroidered above my bed.
And then you just lie awake, like sleepless for hours.
I pray over it. Yeah. Anyone who's met me is like, oh, Tim, you're so hilarious. People who haven't, unfortunately, are the ones who listen to the show. So what are you going to do?
What was I saying about the sardonic edge that I really appreciate?
Great.
Like why we're still friends more than 20 years after we met.
Yeah. One of the other items in Bette Midler's litany is not just like, man, you are so up your own ass. It is also, to borrow a concept that I think was it was from Carl Sagan, who is also in this.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, God.
But it was a thing too that I remember George Carlin mentioning, when he was with us, which is about the sort of humanity's inaction on global warming, which is the Earth is going to be fine. It's humanity that's fucked.
Right.
Like a lot of it is just like, fuck the Earth, fuck the environment, we'll find a way to solve it because we've solved our way out of every problem until now. But it's like, if the Earth is crumbling under your feet, like you don't have anywhere else to go. You can't be like, well, the Earth is fucked, I'm going to go home. It's like, no, like that is where you live. Like your home is in Earth.
Yes.
Let me demonstrate with this series of nesting dolls. So, yeah, she makes the point where it's like, no, I'm giving this message to you. Like, this isn't about saving the Earth. This is about saving yourselves.
Yes.
And then why I say that this movie fits better with like Threads or Ghostwatch is because at this point, the personification of Mother Earth collapses and is rushed to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. We're like 10 minutes into this.
Yeah. Shit is serious. And a little bit of costuming that I actually like. It's kind of hard to tell from the, the 240p copy of this I watched on the Internet Archive, but
yes, bless the Internet Archive.
But looking at pictures of Bette Midler in the role of Mother Earth, like she's in, kind of flowing goddess attire with like the continents and the oceans printed on it, and also covered in garbage.
Yeah, what better way to describe the planet Earth than something beautiful covered in garbage?
By the way, also check out our episode on Darren Aronofsky's Mother if you're super into female personifications.
If you love being traumatized,
yeah,
Shot and Chaser. It is Mother and the Earth Day special.
Yes, shit. I really, really, really like that movie.
Yeah. It's a good movie, Jen.
Yeah, a lot of people shit on it at the time, but you know what? You go listen to our episode. We're talking about a different personification of Mother here.
Well, yeah, you can listen to our Mother episode, and even Matt Chrisman of Chapo agrees with us.
Yes,
on that one.
The word from Matt Chrisman on Mother when I spoke to him about it was it whips sack, which it does.
True, and that is what Mother Earth should be doing to humanity. Be like, get your act together.
That's exactly right. But in the meantime, she's not well. She's in the hospital, and so we have.
But we need a reporter on the scene, someone everyone knows and recognizes.
Oh, this slut, Murphy Brown.
God, we need a footnote for like the whole Dan Quayle, Murphy Brown horse shit.
Yeah, which I think
conservatives have always been human garbage.
Oh, but... yeah. Polluting the earth as we speak.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I actually had to explain this once in a previous episode. I have no idea why we were talking about either Candice Bergen as Murphy Brown and Dan Quayle. I don't remember, but you know what? Maybe I'll link that or something. But that was my joke, folks.
It was a thorny issue about a woman's bodily autonomy, which, again, like environmentalism and global warming, thank goodness we had solved both of those problems.
Yeah, like this fucking fictional woman thinks she can do whatever she wants with her own body. I don't think so.
Yeah, mainstream Hollywood, huh? Gone woke. God. Imagine using the term woke in like 1986.
Well, if you said it in 1986, you were like a black Israelite or something. Like, the meaning was completely different. It had not been appropriated by the planet's most perennially aggrieved people.
Right, yeah, it hasn't been done to death.
Yeah.
So we start this, fun network special where, opened by 3 Looney Tunes to get to Mother Earth in the emergency room. And also we're getting info like cards on the current state of the environment, the health of Mother Earth, which
is not
does
good.
fit with a sort of, it fits with the like the teletype title cards from Threads. Because, Threads will be like, oh, like this many megatons of fallout, pollutes, this shocking percentage of the United Kingdom for how many centuries. So meanwhile, while we see Mother Earth dying in the hospital, we're also informed of certain facts about the just sheer amount of tonnage that Americans produce in garbage every year. And it's both quaint and horrifying.
Yes.
And we get Carl Sagan to drive the point home, doing his public outreach of scientific issues, not just being a smug bastard like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But
I was wondering if you or I would say it. And I think I've said this before on social media. Like, I am so torn on Carl Sagan because obviously, like, what a tremendous loss for humanity.
Oh, absolutely.
At the same time, I'm like, God, I would feel bad if he had to see all this shit. Like, can you imagine? Like, Carl, like, save yourself.
I know. My one relief is that he isn't here to witness how much we have failed him as a species.
I think he would appreciate the advances that we've made in cannabis, though.
True, yeah. And I mean, not just cannabis. I think that he would acknowledge that, we have made great strides were it not for certain moneyed interests who would prefer that things continue the way they are. And the media apparatus that goes to serve that.
I can't stop smoking on this loud. I can't really do a Sagan.
Also, I can't stop smoking on this loud. Like that.
Damn, he was so fucking cool.
Yeah, he was cool in a way that just we don't see scientists anymore. Like, I guess those have been like makers at this point.
Yeah, I guess the closest we have now is Bill Nye, who does seem to be operating in good faith, at least. And also, he was in an episode of Smiling Friends.
Oh, great, perfect. I mean, he would be. But Carl Sagan lays it out to just give some shocking statistics, like 20% of all greenhouse gases coming from the U.S.
Surprise.
Yeah, and again, this is a podcast. We don't care enough to do research, but I believe because I'm clued into a couple of things. Like, speaking of podcasts, I listen to Skeptoid, and that addresses some issues with science. And my vague understanding is that pollution in the U.S. has gone down. The irony being that it's a much bigger population, so it kind of goes up. I think the conflict in that is the same thing that happens like when they widen the freeway. Right. It is what is called induced demand.
Right.
which is, suddenly energy is a lot cheaper. That means that we can do more things. We can widen the freeway. That means more people can drive on it. So while per capita maybe pollution has gone down, it's still an issue, and a lot of that pollution has shifted from the U.S. to developing nations. Again, going off of what what I remember from Skeptoid, which is sort of things like, we don't have a lot of environmental pollution in the U.S. Relatively speaking, but that's only because all of our garbage gets shipped to like Thailand,
right,
and that's where you're pulling straws out of sea turtles' noses,
right, which I'm
like
sure
that
they really appreciate.
Right. Well, they appreciate it because we pay them to do that.
Right.
Or all like the cheap shit, like the stuff, like all of our consumer electronics in the U.S. Like we don't produce a lot of greenhouse gases or pollutants doing that, because all the components are made in China, because it's cheaper, because they aren't beholden to as rigid environmental regulations. It's just this shell game where find the pollution. No, it's not there.
Right.
We've actually just offset it to somewhere else. So someone else dies first, and you only feel the effects later when you're like, well, how can I live without, my new iPhone every couple of years?
Right. Because the really glaring thing that like any person who's clued in and watches this, it will figure out is that, and it's alluded to in Robin Williams' monologue. He says, we used to be hunter-gatherers, now we're shopper-borrowers. The real problem is like the level of consumption, specifically in places like the United States. Like that still continues apace because, we're all little treat boys and girls.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like that thing about the way to curb global warming is to curb the spending of like the top 1% of like the wealthiest people on Earth. And guess what?
Yeah,
every American follows in that. It's like if you have a savings account, you're wealthier than like half the world's population.
Right, which is wild to think about. But like there is a positive note here because and I'm sure you remember this, Tim. At the time, a major environmental concern was the hole in the ozone layer from chlorofluorocarbons.
Yep. Yeah.
Which Carl Sagan speaks about in very serious terms here. And by 2016, because we stopped using those harmful chemicals, we began regulating them. That caused the ozone layer to heal quite a bit.
Yeah, we went from using hairspray to using gel.
Right.
Yeah, that's hairstyles changed, and we solved the ozone layer.
Yeah, R.I.P. Peg Bundy.
Yeah. Also, it was concerted societal and governmental and industrial action.
Right.
That, I mean, good luck getting most of those groups to work to do anything progressive at this point.
The notion of a public good is what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't even know what to call it.
Wokeness.
Some other things too that. Yeah.
DEI.
Yeah. Caring about something that isn't your immediate self. What are you, gay?
Yeah, we don't fucking do that here in America.
Right.
We're basically the Bundys here in America.
Yeah. Who do make an appearance.
Yes.
Because everyone is in this.
Yeah.
Another one of Carl Sagan's points that is worth noting is in terms of the road ahead, like what do we plan to do? Look to insurance companies. Look to the military. Like the military doesn't have a kind of laissez-faire. Oh, she'll be right. The solution to things would be like, if everything goes wrong, what is our contingency?
Right.
And same with insurance. They aren't just like, yeah, I'll insure your house. What, Malibu? Yeah, sure, whatever. They're like, actually,
yeah,
we're going to lose millions upon millions of dollars if we insure anywhere that is, west of Sepulveda. So,
uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're in real deep trouble now.
Yeah. Well, it's California. We're boned. We're gonna break off and fall into the ocean like in that Warren Zevon song.
Arizona Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. But it hasn't happened yet, mind you.
No. isn't going to happen in the near term is enough for people to say, yeah, let the next generation deal with it. I am too comfortable right now.
Right.
But yeah, so we're all of 15 minutes into this. Mother Earth has been brought to the hospital. We are getting Carl Sagan telling us, like, look, if you don't change your habits and actually try and be responsible and look after the only home you've ever known, the only planet capable of supporting life in this, solar system that we know of, fuck you, we're not living on Mars. At that point, the viewer surrogate Danny DeVito is like, this is really bumming me out. I want to watch Jeopardy. And on brand, they cut to Jeopardy, where the categories are acid rain, garbage, ozone, global warming.
Yes. You can't escape. Yeah. Alex Trebek will hunt you down and find you.
Yeah, and it's great too, because even the categories that they have, it's like, oh, let's take garbage for 400, and it's like, do Americans produce 1 pound of garbage, 2 pounds of garbage, or 3.5 pounds of garbage per day? And yeah, the answer is the highest number. Just like, fuck, really? Because as the persuaded viewer, I'm looking around, I'm like, how am I making 3.5 pounds of garbage? Like, I'm not throwing out a stack of pizza boxes every day. Would that I could.
Hey, don't judge me.
Right. But yeah, it's basically all like the little things that go into that, where it's like, well, what supports your lifestyle? If you're using electricity, how much carbon dioxide is being pumped in the air from the coal-fired power plant that is running Siri to give you the wrong answer. Shit like that. It's like, yeah, it all adds up. Like, there are these invisible costs that you're just like, well, I turn on the light, that doesn't cost anything. It's like, that energy had to be made somehow from somewhere.
Look,
like the water you use, like the car you drive. Fuck, man.
Look, I don't care that it burned up an entire lake to generate this AI picture of Trump fucking Elon Musk and giving Vladimir Putin a reach around. I think it's funny, and it's getting me a ton of likes on social media. So, fuck you.
Yeah, that is, 1 cubic meter of greenhouse gases per like.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But going back to what you were saying about shit, now I forgot. Fuck.
I was talking about Carl Sagan basically explaining how easy it is to just not see these things.
Oh, right.
And then we get Jeopardy.
Yeah. Well, and to get back to where we are in the special, I think one thing you forgot to mention, Tim, is that looking after Mother Earth are 3 TV doctors who are James Brolin, Neil Patrick Harris.
P.W. Herman. That's who I recognize him as.
Paging Mr. Herman.
I know you are, but what am I?
Still Mr. Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
Who also appears
She also
special.
shows up in this, yeah.
We also have Neil Patrick Harris as Doogie Howser. And I want to say Dana Delaney.
Yeah.
From China Beach.
Yeah, Dana Delaney of 30-something in China Beach with a fantastic ass.
I will take your word for it because I barely recognized her. I didn't really watch anything that she was on.
You weren't watching China Beach when you were 11?
No. And
when you were Doogie Howser's age?
Yeah, and I didn't see Exit to Eden, starring Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell either.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Nobody did. Yeah. Yeah, so we have 3 TV doctors and Eddie Olmos.
Right, playing
Captain Adama.
Yeah, I thought he was playing like just his Miami Vice character, but he's a hospital administrator. And this is another thing I like about the special is the hospital admin is mostly concerned with saving money, and then he just kind of disappears from the special. Like, there's no redemption arc for this motherfucker. And there shouldn't be.
Of course, a hospital administrator, when dealing with the lives of patients, is like, I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Right. He is the eternal CEO. He is every admin.
Yeah.
He's
because the
he's that
doctors
guy Luigi
get it.
killed.
Oh man, yeah. If we could get a Mario brother in like a redux of an Earth Day special.
Hell yeah, Luigi and
yeah.
Birdo team up.
Yeah, so the doctors are responsible in doing their jobs. It is the hospital administrator who's like, "Why are we freaking out over this bitch?" But yeah, you have Doogie Howser there, who has a great entrance because it just starts like from the back of his head, and then he turns around, and you're like, "Oh, it is the genius child doctor from that beloved series."
I never watched that show either.
He gives a coda at the end where he writes a journal entry onto his personal computer. That is how smart he is.
Wow, he can work
he knows
a
how to use a computer.
He must be a genius.
Yeah. But one of the things that we skipped over that I liked, because bringing it all back around to why we're doing this, Downtown Julie Brown isn't, Murphy Brown isn't the only brown person in this cast. There's Downtown Julie Brown.
Charlie Brown refused to participate, however.
Yeah, well, we know about his views.
Yeah, it turns out he's a paleoconservative.
Right.
He was too busy kicking it with Pat Buchanan.
Yeah. So Downtown Julie Brown is interviewing Egon Spengler, which is great.
Except it's his brother, Dr. Elon Spengler.
Right. It is Harold Ramis in character. But it's the pollution themed Ghostbusters. And this is before consolidated media properties and the multiverse and everything. But it's him confronting Martin Short was big on SCTV. This was an SNL bit where he just plays this flop sweat covered pathological liar, not John Lovett's pathological liar, but just this guy's extremely defensive about everything, that like every point that you're making against him, just like, I know that.
Yeah.
Why do you think who don't know that? Just it is like a White House press conference,
and it strikes.
We're just like, what? Why are you such a piece of shit? Like, who's saying this piece of shit? I'm not saying that. Why did you bring that? Why do you make this personal?
Yeah, Darvo.
Just like completely derailing any argument.
Yeah, a big Michael Palin character energy.
Yes.
Yes it is, no it isn't, Mr. Devious, etc. I'm sure there was some inspiration there.
Probably, yeah. But it is that very hostile, derailing, disingenuous corporate spokesman who Harold Ramis confronts before he slinks off. And again, like just chain smoking, like this cigarette just like down to the filter, which you could do, and you could just drop it on the street because who cares?
Yeah, this was back when you could still smoke indoors.
Yeah, you were encouraged
on a
to.
soundstage. Like actors and actresses were still smoking themselves thin.
Yeah, they had McDonald's brought in their ashtrays, bringing it back.
And I actually I kind of like this part because it provides an example of direct action, which is like forget, like don't. And I'm not saying like forget your like letter writing campaigns or recycling drives or calling your representatives. Like, those can have their place, but let's not forget, as Dr. Spengler here puts it, his raison d'etre is to humiliate industrial polluters.
Yes. Yeah, the one problem with that being the assumption that they have any shame. I mean, really, maybe he should get his brother Egon to turn him into a ghost.
Well, like Michael Keaton, as you said earlier, plays the lone executive with a conscience, like later on in the special.
Yeah, he's remarkable because he is the exception to the rule.
Yeah, the one guy who felt shame.
Yeah,
for his
but
actions.
he does make a point that is pretty much like brass tacks. What does this cost us?
Right.
Like, what kind of long-term problems do short-term profits, create?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, how to not be short-sighted, which is also addressed because, again, like they have a lot of strawmen to counter strawman arguments. One in particular being, and this just so like encapsulates a certain mindset. There's this just like just butthead cop.
This
I looked
wrecker
him.
security guard or something.
Yeah, he's played by he's Tom Hanks' friend in The Burbs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like really know this actor, but he was in The Burbs.
Yeah, he's just a comedic character actor. He's a second fiddle. But he is just turning away kids from the hospital there to see Mother Earth because like they brought saplings with them.
Right.
Because it is easy for the cop to dismiss them, be like, look, there's three of you. These trees are very small. Your actions are pointless. Stop trying. Get out. Scram, you kids. But it's just that like a lot of small actions lead to bigger effects if you just make a concerted effort. But he's just like, get out of here. Scram, kids. He's basically Senator Dianne Feinstein and Current Corpse. Lecturing kids who went to her office, like schoolgirls who went to her office to be like, hey, can you do something about the environment? And her lecturing them about like, it ain't that simple, kids.
Yeah, get scarce, you little do-gooders.
Right, yeah.
Very positive lesson.
Right, yeah. I hope that was their radicalizing moment.
Yeah. Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. And it's funny because like the security guard like kind of like he as good as plants those trees anyway because he just chucks them into the landscaping.
Right. It's like, well, there you go.
Like, nice job, genius.
Yeah. But it is just a really well-crafted vignette of the idea of even small actions are futile.
Right.
Like, it's too little effort and you're just some dumb kid.
Yeah. Also,
Right. Well, true. Of course, he's a security guard. Mm-hmm. The class of person that is too dumb to be a cop.
Yeah, like barely a notch above mall cop.
But hey, lest that get you down, you know who shows up? Doc fucking Brown.
Yeah! You all love Back to the Future, right?
Of course. It was barely not the 80s anymore. Ghostbusters and Back to the Future? Fuck, this is front-loaded.
Oh, yeah. It's got all the heavy hitters.
Yeah. So Doc Brown goes to tell the doctors, as one doctor to another, like, I've been to the future. Things are awful there. And fuck if he wasn't correct.
And it's funny, too, because he shows on his, I guess this is a chronovisor. Look that one up. Mm-hmm. He shows footage which is sort of implied to be from the future of like horrible pollution and environmental despoilment.
This disturbing montage of like pollution and environmental degradation and oil spills and dumping toxins and fucking seals getting clubbed and elephants being shot.
Yeah.
Respiratory illnesses, smoke and garbage. It is the whole thing. You're like, wow, the future is fucked.
Right.
And then
when I was watching this, I was like, and me being a snotty little bitch.
You are a smark, yes.
I was like, well, that's just now, dude. And Doc Brown anticipated my snotty comment because they say to him like, oh, this, this is just the world now. And he's like, no, this is the present. I've been to the future and it's worse.
Right. Yeah. So even like, being a smug viewer at home is like, that's not the future. That's just now. Today's actually terrible. So,
So fuck you, Doc Brown. But wait a minute.
Right. Yeah. Then you just get smacked upside the head with truth.
Yeah. And then later on, he does a monologue about the better Earth of the past, like pre-industrial Earth. And Christopher Lloyd has to do like a lot of heavy lifting here to put this across because, there are no visuals to go with right. That. Like, I don't know if maybe it was a choice not to show like positive Earth images or something like that, but...
Yeah, he's describing a crystal clear Mississippi River, and you're just like, oh, I've never seen that.
Right. Yeah.
It's like Miller in The Expanse being like, hey, before I die, can you tell me what rain tastes like?
Yeah.
Because I've never lived on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really have
It's
to sell this
disparaging.
through
Yeah.
his monologue. Doing fine work here is Dr. Emmett Brown.
Yeah. Well, he's a smart guy. But yeah, it's very despairing to see all that together. Because, I mean, also, keep in mind, we were watching a primetime TV special where it's just like, did I just see an elephant get shot?
Yeah.
Like, a for real animal just died on TV. It's like, I didn't know I was signing up to watch, the Willy Wonka movie.
Yeah. Instead, you're seeing Donald Trump Jr.'s hunting home movies.
Right. Well, I mean, there is that scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where the chicken gets beheaded.
Right.
Yeah.
Donald Trump Jr. was responsible for that, too.
Yeah. It's funny because I always pegged him as being irresponsible.
The guy's a real dipshit, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's just like the clone that wasn't in the vat long enough.
That's what all his kids look like, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
They all look like they didn't, cook all the way through.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, ugh, this is your progeny?
Yeah.
And you're a white supremacist? How do you square that?
Yeah, sad, really.
Right.
But anyway,
so
back
Doc
to the
Brown is
beautiful people.
Yeah, so the beautiful people. So Doc Brown is like, no, the Earth is fucked now. You need to do something about it. Again, this gets a little heavy. So, all right, let's cut to the Golden Girls. Which, if you are still a hipster, you love the Golden Girls.
Oh, indeed.
And,
well,
yeah.
everyone loves the Golden Girls. It's one of those perennially beloved sitcoms like Friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have Rose, Dorothy, Blanche, and I'm forgetting the mom's name. Estelle Getty.
Estelle Getty. Yeah.
What the fuck is their character's name? It doesn't matter. They're all sitting around serving up realness about the state of the planet. And they talk a lot about polystyrene.
Right. Yeah. That is just like someone in the writer's room grabbed a post-it note and wrote poly-styrene on it and stuck it to the whiteboard and like, all right, guys, we need 3 minutes on this.
Well, I imagine there was a hell of a lot of it going around at the time.
A hell of a lot of polystyrene. Yeah, it's in your blood right now, I'm sure.
Cool.
Yeah. It's in with all the microplastics.
I'm going to go...
That's probably what it would be about now.
I'm going to go have all of my blood replaced like Keith Richards.
Cool. Yeah. Get some antifreeze like TV's Frank. Yep. It's one for the swear jar.
That's one of my favorite bits is when Frank is just like, I'm late for my ice dancing lesson.
Yeah, just like barely sentient.
I'll put $10 in too. That's going to go to the Cleaner Air Fund. So it's all
good. It plants part of a sapling. Yeah, and so, they do their bit, and the culmination basically being Betty White, Rose, who is like the naive, stupid, childlike one, who, of course, is the optimist, who's like, fast food restaurants should have recycling. And at the time, we're just like, yeah, good luck with that. But then they do.
Right.
They have recycling. Like, you can sort things now. So
yeah.
So Rose is like, hey, suck on that.
Yeah. Betty White is laughing at us all.
Yeah.
From the grave.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Is it all these actresses are dead, except in our hearts.
Right, yeah. Meanwhile, even when she was alive, Dianne Feinstein was dead to me. This fucking craven ghoul.
Fuck that dead bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad she's dead. Yeah, so we get a whole thing on styrofoam and CFCs. And Carl Sagan again lays it out where it's like, yeah, we've all been doing our part. It is industries and governments who haven't.
Correct.
It isn't. Yeah.
Correct.
When people say, yeah, it's all of us. Like, yeah, it is all of us. But also it's like, oh, the people who stand to gain the most by not doing anything. Yeah, it turns out that they haven't been helping out. Yeah.
And like, if there's anything that remains to be taken away from the special at this incredibly late date, it's, can we at least put the blame on the right people? And that's not to say that we can't all do our part. It's just that I think doing our part is going to involve more than just sorting our recycling or making those particular consumer choices of like, oh, we need to be more environmentally friendly shoppers or whatever.
Yeah, it is.
Or
It
I
is
need to
solutions
buy,
at scale.
yeah, or I need to buy an electric vehicle. It's thinking about like, well, wait a minute, where do the materials for that electric vehicle come from? Like, what happens when, like, I don't know, the battery dies or whatever?
Right.
Like,
Well,
where's that battery going to go?
Yeah, it was a problem that was produced at scale and can only be solved at scale.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it isn't saying like, hey, we're going to continue to, you know, pump out because regulations allow for more pollutants in a truck. We're just going to make SUVs when like the EV1 already existed in like 1997.
Yeah, which
it's like we had an electric car, 30 years ago.
Yeah, and the documentary about it will tell you exactly what happened to it because the title is "Who Killed the Electric Car?"
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Alexander Paul had one. And yeah, they protested it because it was a pilot program where you couldn't buy the car, you could only lease it. But again, it was leased to people who had the money to buy and drive an electric car. And they're like, I will write you a check. Like, don't take away my EV1. I love this car.
Yeah.
But then they're like, we kind of hamstrung the studies and didn't really want to do it anyway. It was probably just to like go through like the motions for like some government study and like, yeah, it turns out that an electric car actually has all these benefits, but yeah, we don't want
to. Yeah.
And then it took a true visionary like Elon. Hang on, there's a knock on my door.
Whew. Yeah. And, really, isn't it the right of every American to drive a toddler crushing pickup truck to go to Costco with?
Yeah,
and if there is a weakness
like
of this,
these are the failings of environmental action. But go ahead.
Right, because if there is a weakness of this special, and it has a few, because it is a polemic that aired on network TV, and they can't get that radical, and they can't say like, hey, that Martin Short character, we should kill him and take his money. Like that's a little spicy now, let alone 1990 network television.
Right? Yeah, I don't think that audiences in 1990 would enjoy a scene of Martin Short being killed on screen.
Well, except for that one guy who wrote that Slate article.
Oh, I know.
No,
well, you'll just have to tune into the next season of Only Murders to see what happens.
Well, no, do you remember when we did the Clifford episode?
Yes, I do.
Like what sparked it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that exactly. And also, as an aside, we should probably put this in the show notes. The two men who created Tesla are Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpening. A South African racist just showed up later.
Right.
With his PayPal money.
Because that's what he does, and that is what capitalists do, is they profit off the useful labor of others.
Right, yeah.
Which they can't exactly say in a TV special from network TV in 1990, but we appreciate that our audience will have already drawn that conclusion.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it is a special directed at the individual when these solutions are structural.
Right. Your average Claude, like Danny DeVito or the Bundys.
Right, yeah. There's a brief, again, casting a wide net, there's a brief segment of Weekend Update with Dennis Miller
this is
centrist.
This is 1990 as fuck.
Yeah, this is very pre-9/11 Dennis Miller.
This is before his brain broke.
Yeah.
And he started hanging out with Bill O'Reilly.
You hate to see it, folks. Yeah. One of the takeaways from that, which, again, I would have to fact check this because it is a number that is so galling when you stop to think about it. Because in this, Dennis Miller, as the punchline to the joke, says that, the U.S. produces a ton of toxic waste per person in a year.
Yeah.
Like an actual ton.
Yeah.
That is difficult for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah, and
but I'm sure if you add it all up, every, plastic container of every fast food thing that maybe you get it not that often, but even still, like, shit adds up.
Yeah, and this is another thing which I think is a little bit of a weakness of the special is like they lean really, really heavily on statistics, like numbers, which can be like those can catch you. It's like it's like Rhea Perlman saying like, yeah, try 1,300 pounds of garbage a year from the average American. It's like, oh damn, that's crazy. But there's a point where they get like hard to visualize. And I feel as though some beyond just like stock footage of like how fucked everything is, not like
well, you need to look no further than the website that asks you to visualize like Jeff Bezos' wealth.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, where it's like here's the average household income, and it's like 50 grand. It's like here's how you stack all those up, and here's how you get $1 million, and like here's how you get 10 million and 100. It's like here's how you get $1 billion, and you just scroll and scroll and scroll. And then there's like a little signpost that's like, okay, we've reached 1 billion. And Jeff Bezos has like 136 or something. I'm sure it's higher now.
Yeah.
And then you scroll, and then you scroll, and then you just close the browser tab and go have a lie down.
And then Carl Sagan comes up and says the man has billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah. Why do people associate this as an astronomical number when it is at most an economic one?
And this was a thing that Square One understood, because every time I think about a billion of something, I think 1 million is big, 1 billion is bigger, 1,000 times 1 million, that's 1 billion. And then you're like, holy shit, like 1,000 times a million? That's like so much.
Yeah, that gets back into the whole billionaire should not exist thing. Because for someone to have $1 billion means there are 1,000 people who did not become millionaires.
Yeah. Oh, but
try and think of 1,000 people. You haven't met 1,000 people.
I don't think I even have like 1,000 friends on Facebook.
Yeah, more people than you've ever known could have been millionaires, save for one greedy bastard.
Oh, but Tim, they work so hard.
Fuck you.
Yeah, like, those people don't work as hard as the average cleaning lady.
Right.
Like, fuck off.
No,
and they're not...
They play Dark Souls and are the CEO of 4 corporations.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not getting, like, slip discs and, like, flat feet and corns.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
it's
they're...
the permanent underclass doing that.
They're, like, measuring their erections with their sun.
I'm going to assume that you just made that up and move on.
Yeah, you know what? If it makes you feel better, then yeah, like I made that up. No one would be so depraved as to pursue immortality in such a creepy way.
Yeah. So, yeah, it isn't just us, but it is Doc Brown making the point. Same as Carl Sagan, being like, yes, you on an individual level are doing the right thing, but it isn't that we can't solve global warming. It isn't that we can't solve pollution. Like, we know what to do. The people who can do something about it aren't.
Yes.
Like we know what the answers are. It's just people are like, sounds difficult though. it's my traveler group again. Like, you want us to try for this thing? That sounds risky.
Get their asses.
So, yeah. But as if it wasn't enough that we have sent Mother Earth to the emergency room in our negligence. And this is the part where I kind of had to like pause the special and clear my head. Because it is the Muppets are in this.
Man, and if the Muppets
Kermit,
can't convince you,
yeah, you have no soul.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Like,
yeah, you have a cold black heart. If
like
Kermit the Frog can't persuade you.
Like, as soon as I saw Kermit in this frog chorus, I was like, "Aw."
Yeah, and pretty much they're laying it out too, where it isn't just mankind. It's like what is a frog gonna do about global warming? Like, they're the tail of the dog getting wagged, and he's saying when people mismanage the earth, it affects all of us, and it is up to people. This is the point where the special is basically going like, I'm not saying that if you don't take care of the earth, you're killing Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the point where I'm just like, okay, special, like, you need to take it easy with me just for a second.
Yeah, like this is like honestly, like
Like, do you want to let global warming be a thing, or do you want to kill Kermit?
mm-hmm.
Look, this is your choice. Hey, it's up to you. Your humanity. Like,
yeah, it's
do something.
and really this is a blunderbuss aimed right at Tim's heart.
Yeah. I mean, like, I will rewatch Threads, and this gave me like, okay, I need to take a minute. This is too much.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this was right around the time when Jim Henson passed away, I believe.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah, let's listen to the frogs, people.
Yeah, because the following segment is the one that stuck with me, and we've had, Martin Short is that's his name, Therm, that sleazy spokesman, but here we get it is Robin Williams, the everyman, and he is feeling as I am. That's just like, we have really fucked this up. Like, we're going to kill Kermit. Like, we are, the human race is going to die out. Mother Earth is going to kill us all. Well, why don't I go to a cafe and hang out with, famous actor Dustin Hoffman, where he makes a shockingly persuasive case for just basically burying your head in the sand. It is like an appeal to solipsism. It's, that sort of disingenuous post truth
Mm-hmm.
attitude, which is, Robin Williams comes in with his, list of grievances, and pollution being one of them. And that's the part where, Dustin Hoffman, like, playing like the everyman lawyer, because he's like, well, yeah, sure, Earth has a lot of problems, but what is actionable? And his point of view being like, oh, you talk about oil slicks. Have you ever seen an oil slick?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, sure. It is basically you say global warming is a thing. Well, why is it cold right now? And he's just finding ways to just ignore the problem and just forestall it, at every turn. He is the most, like, monstrously evil character in this. Just like the banality of evil is embodied, in Dustin Hoffman's character, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and there's a point where he says his argument basically boils down to like, hey, why worry about it? Like, go to the mall across the street, you'll feel better. And I was like, motherfucker,
Yeah.
I'm in 2025. The malls are dead.
Yeah, even the mall has died.
Yeah.
But his case is like, oh, you're worried about it being hot outside? Go to the mall. They got air conditioning there.
Right.
You don't have to go outside. We can make a sterile enclosed environment that you can spend your whole life in, rather than to, be out in nature. Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the same, like, horseshit argument that people are being persuaded by, being like, oh yeah, we're gonna live on Mars. We're gonna live in a simulacra of the environment. It's like, motherfucker, like, the thing that people post online, it's like, oh, we're gonna make Mars more Earth-like. Like, motherfucker, make Earth more Earth-like.
Yeah, it's really infuriating, and it's like how the thing.
Yeah, because he has the luxury of being able to ignore these problems.
Yeah, and it's kind of like how people will seize on things like there is no ethical consumption under capitalism,
Mm-hmm.
and turn that into, oh, I don't have to give a shit anymore because there's no point. So who
Right.
cares if I'm
Yes.
ordering DoorDash like 6 times a week?
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we tried, and only the biggest influencers didn't make any effort, and nothing worked. So we may as well just give up.
Yeah, and it's the same kind of disingenuous turn towards quote unquote self-care.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, like, take the day off, go to the mall. It's like, hey, go ahead, like, order that
Consume
DoorDash
more.
meal. Yeah, because
we
like,
need you to consume more.
yeah, or as Felix Biederman put it, oh, you're a goody good boy. You deserve a treaty treat.
Yeah, we're gonna, like, the only way to, like, get out of this power dive is by accelerating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you say so.
Yeah.
It just means you're gonna, impact the Earth sooner rather than later. And Dustin Hoffman's character does make kind of the same argument as Zorg in The Fifth Element, which is like we can sell solutions for everything that wasn't a problem before. Like, hey, if if you're getting cancer from going outside from the ozone layer just like being fucked, then you can put on sunscreen. You can put on some zinc on your nose. It was like in the the RoboCop sequel, where it's like we have SPF 3000, where you can spend up to 5 minutes in the Southern California sun. And someone just like slathered in this like teal like sunscreen.
Hey,
just, like looking like an alien.
It's called innovation.
Right, yeah. We're disrupting the being able to go outside industry.
What else we got, Tim?
Well, your favorite part, where they introduce a beloved children's character that I know, Jen, you have a lot of great things to say about. E.T., the extra toe.
Thank you. You saved me from punching my monitor a second time today. Because this is where I had to take a break from the special, because I had destroyed my monitor in a rage like a parakeet attacking a mirror when I saw E.T. Because I was like, motherfucker, you aren't even from here. Like, eat your Reese's Pieces and fuck off.
He is an adorable big-eyed turd.
Yeah, so this ugly little cunt is like, oh, hey, check out this book, which, like, fine, whatever. Like,
like, you, Zionist Mayim Bialik. Here's how to take care of the earth.
Oh, and don't get vaccinated, by the way.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so E.T. shows up to present a book to some adorable children, which is full of ideas that you can enact yourself to help the earth. And that kind of ties into earlier when Doc Brown was talking excitedly about how much information there is at your local library, which,
Yeah, visit your local library until they ban all the books about how to save the environment.
Yeah, like, and hey, you know what? Why not check out your local library? Because that would be a nice thing to try to hang on to. So, make use of those spaces. There's good shit there.
Yeah, win-win.
Do you know how much
I'm
shit
just surprised
Tim has printed at his local library?
Reams of synopses and handouts that my players do not read.
Tim creates 1 ton of paper waste.
God damn it!
I kid. Sorry, I literally, I did not mean to set you up like that. That's where it went.
I put it in the recycling, Jen. It doesn't just go in the trash.
But yeah, no, seriously. Use your local library. Use the information at hand. Use the still remaining public spaces at hand. It's a good thing. Yeah,
I thought at this point E.T. was just going to hand the children a book called To Serve Man. It would have done just as well.
Is there a way to edit together like E.T. with, giving the kids the book and then just cut directly to him lying face down in that creek bed looking like a piece of lunch meat?
I don't know. Is someone getting reamed for their Adobe subscription every month who could maybe make that happen?
Yeah, I might as well do something with it.
Yeah. So Jen fast forwards to that part, and we get a rap medley with, think of a rap musician from the 80s, and they are in this.
Yeah, and it starts off with Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
And you got the Fresh Prince. You got Kid and Play. Remember them?
Yeah. Right.
You got fucking Ice-T.
Ice-T shows up. We're living on overkill. You bought a new house. It's on a landfill.
Hell yeah, dude. And this is not only pre-SVU. This is pre-Cop Killer. Remember that?
Right. Yeah. Tone Loc is there. Turns out Funky Cold Medina has been linked to mesothelioma in some cases.
Also a very young Queen Latifah.
Yeah. Heavy D is there. No word on whether the boys were, but yeah.
Yeah.
It is a tour de force, just of everyone getting together and doing just this whole rap song about, hey, if you won't listen to the Fresh Prince, please listen to Ice-T. Otherwise, he may have to cap you.
Yeah, like, choose your rapper, basically. You can choose nice, wholesome, parents just don't understand Will Smith, or you can pick Ice-T, who's gearing up for a cop killer.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of
runs the gamut.
I forget the name of the group he recorded that with, but God damn it.
Suicidal Tendencies?
No.
No?
I can't remember. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. But yeah, if you're old school, they got Quincy Jones. If you're new school, they got Kid and Play. They're covering their bases.
Smart. And, at least, and in true 1990 style, like, at least an effort to reach out to beyond the white audience.
Right. Yeah. Turns out that, because it was in the 90s when we discovered black people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, everyone saw Do the Right Thing, and they were like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a segment with The Cosby Show.
Now there's a man that we can trust. Cliff Huxtable himself. Mr. Bill Cosby.
Yeah, see, you save energy by not putting up a struggle.
Well, that sums it up. I can't top that, Tim.
Yeah, their angle was saving energy is saving money, which, of course, the patron in the series is like, why are these kids wasting all my money? It's like, well, just, take a shorter shower, turn the TV off when you're not watching it.
Yeah, and
it'll lower your bill.
And this is a pitch to the dads in the audience. Like, yeah, we know all this environmental stuff is kind of fruity, but it could save you pennies on your electrical bill. Thanks, Dr. Huxtable.
Count. Yeah, body count. I got
body count.
Something about being dead.
Yes.
Yeah. No one remembers body count. I just remember the black guys speaking up against the cops.
Weird that they would scapegoat that person.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was Murphy Brown or anything. Murphy Black, y'all. Yeah, so speaking of people who aren't black, who couldn't be any less black, we get a speech from Jack Lemmon.
We need to make the white audience comfortable again. That was a lot of black people on our screen just now.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm clicking over to Family Ties.
Alex P. Keaton will sort these dorks out.
The free market will save us all. Yeah, so he basically is just like, use less energy. Can't imagine you'll get like Taylor Swift talking about, the efficiency of owning a private jet. But at this point, Jack Lemmon makes a speech for using less energy, and good for him.
What does Chris Lemmon think, though?
Oh, you do not want to know.
Chris Lemmon, write in, info@haveyouseen.us.
Oh, yeah, he's listening.
What else is he going to be doing?
Yeah, he's rewatching Firehead.
Now, he's like, motherfucker, I am still more successful than you clowns.
That's true, yeah, so that's why we can say something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fair point, Chris Lemmon.
Yeah, crying to a pile of money that his dad, bequeathed him.
No, he's crying to that sweet Firehead money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have a couple of actual actionable segments, like what you can do as an individual, how you can get involved, like what solutions people are coming up with now.
Yeah.
And it is again, like dead simple stuff, like recycling oil.
Yeah, and this is a point which kind of stopped me dead. And, this is probably a positive sign that I stopped dead at this part. Because, if you're changing your own oil, like, you can take it to facilities to recycle it. Don't just dump it in the storm drain. Or, as they also say, if you're painting, don't pour your paint down the drain.
Yeah.
And I was like, did people used to do that? Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that is wild. And it is just another example in us kind of like being blind to the times we live in, where at the time you're like, well, I have extra paint. How do I get rid of extra paint? Well, obviously I put it in the drain, where potable water goes.
Hey, here's a convenient hole.
Right, yeah.
There, out of sight is out of mind.
Do.
It's like the kind of shit Homer Simpson would do.
I'm sure that probably fed into, the formation of this character. Because, these are Harvard writers from the mid-'80s, where it's like, well, what did dumb clods do with reckless abandon? Pour paint down the drain.
Yeah, that was, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah, but then to describe it now, you'll be like Jen, where you'd be like, did people do that? You'd just be like flabbergasted at just the things that people did normally in the 80s before they're like, hey, don't burn styrofoam.
Yeah. Don't breathe the fumes from burning plastic. It's bad for you. Oh, word?
Right, yeah. And it's funny too that like even just in big and small ways, it's just the way that like, packaging has changed.
Yeah.
And it's like products have changed. Because even still, like when I do occasionally get fast food, it does kind of like bum me out, like the amount of waste that goes with it, although like it's now like paper waste.
Right.
Yeah, but even still, like I think it's like Fatburger that like produces like the smallest amount of waste, because it is like a paper bag, a wrapper, and like foil, which is actually recyclable.
Oh, thank God, because I've been jonesing for one of their shakes.
oh, you don't want to know about the shakes, though.
They're full of paint.
Right. All that paint that went down the drain, guess where it went?
It is right in your cookie shake. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it still beats going to Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't catch me dead there.
Yeah, homophobic, evangelical fast food.
Right, yeah, but they're really happy about it.
Yeah.
It's like, because you fit into their narrow definition of who lives and who dies.
But yeah, so okay, so what else? Recycle your oil. Don't pour paint down the drain. I'm so glad that they said that, because like I had some Kansas House paint that I was gonna get rid of.
That you're just like, how do you get rid of paint? Well,
yeah.
How do you get rid of any other liquid that you don't want?
Just dump it on the ground. Who cares?
Makes sense. Yeah.
We get a dating game segment.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is, and this is kind of weird, because like for some reason Bachelor number 1 is Pat Riley, the Lakers coach.
Yeah.
Remember
coach
him?
Lakers. Yeah. There's an oil slick right there, just in his hair alone.
And this is always funny.
Pat Riley recycles hair oil. Hey-o.
Hey, yeah. God damn it, I was going to make another MST reference, but I will stop myself. Do you
write your own jokes, Jen? Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also
not like me.
Because for his ideal date, he mentions driving up the coast, like stopping at Clint's place.
Yeah, we'll drive up to Taco. Yeah,
having a romantic candlelight dinner, and I'm like, with Clint? So it's going to be, and the Bachelorette is Gina Davis, by the way. So it's going to be a romantic dinner with Gina Davis, Pat Riley, and Clint Eastwood in Carmel by the Sea, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can shop at like an art gallery, or maybe if you aren't feeling that, you can go to like a sculpture gallery, and after that you can go to like a wine tasting that is also an art gallery.
Stop by the Hog's Breath Inn.
Yeah.
Is that still
I'm saying there isn't a lot to do in Carmel.
Does Clint still live there? I don't think he does.
I assume so.
Did you recognize Bachelor number 2? Because I didn't.
I tried my damnedest to figure out who that is, and I do not recognize who it is.
Yeah, I'm like, this has got to be like a soap opera actor or something, and I could not find him in the credits.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought, it's like James Marsden or something, but it's like he would have been like 10.
Yeah. This is well before his time. But
yeah, Bachelor
number 3, and this is where a friend of the show, Darren, gets excited.
Right, because Bachelor 1 is like, we'll drive up the coast, we'll club some seals in Carmel, we'll burn some garbage, and then we'll dump our paint into the into the bay. And then Bachelor 2 says, we're gonna go party with Taylor Swift on her private jet. We're gonna shoot some elephants. We'll fly to Paris and then come back just for no reason. And then Bachelor number 3 is like, why don't we just go for a walk in the park? And that Bachelor is
a guy who gets no respect.
Right. Someone who cares about the earth.
That's exactly right. It's
right.
It's Rodney Dangerfield who gets paired up with Gina Davis.
Yeah, and even then, he's like, "Is this really happening?" And Gina Davis is like, "Is this really happening?" It's also, but he makes a good point where it's like, yeah, you don't need to be a big show off. You can just like enjoy things that are all around you. You can enjoy the natural world. You can go on a hike. Like you can go on a walk. You can go to the park. You can walk on the beach. Like this stuff costs nothing.
Yeah,
and you can still, bag yourself a 6-foot tall actress.
Yeah, because the most important message to take away from this segment is caring about the earth will get you Gina Davis level pussy.
Yeah, even if you're Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, and just off stage, Jeff Goldblum is like, I know.
Like, yeah, it turns out that not being a huge piece of shit is very attractive.
Also being 6'4" and
right.
kind of jacked, but
Yeah, we all saw Jurassic Park.
We all saw Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, yeah. With Julie Brown.
Yes!
She was not in a TV special, but there's another Julie Brown who was.
Yeah.
That's just restating shit that we've already gone over. But yeah, then we get the segment with Michael Keaton as the conscientious corporate executive.
Yeah, doing his paste bin apology.
Right. Because it is, again, putting it in like economic terms, where he's saying either you can spend a lot to dispose of these chemicals correctly, or perhaps you can just pollute the rivers around this predominantly black neighborhood to power your Grok AI data center, which is a thing that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And just let the environmental effects like be what they are. Like you could be the Tesla battery factory that caught fire in the Bay Area and polluted like the wetlands there, which we've got tons of those to deal with.
That is a point raised elsewhere in the special, is the impact on lower income and minority communities is always going to be more severe. Like with this stuff, the shit rolls downhill.
Yeah, they're people who have no leverage. Like they're the ones who get the worst of it.
Yeah, the people who...
And often, it isn't just, Kermit the Frog who doesn't have a say in this, but it is other human beings.
Yeah, and these people do fight against this stuff. It's just that, as Tim said, they have very little power to do so. I mean, you will see community activists saying like, hey, maybe don't put that battery factory in our neighborhood and let it catch on fire. Yeah,
we save a lot of money now by dumping pollution into the river, and then in 10 years' time, after all the litigation, the survivors might get a settlement.
Yeah, and in 15 years, Michael Keaton will feel bad about it.
Right, yeah. But he does, play this character well of, establishing this viewpoint, which is something that we've heard before, which until these corporations are sued into fucking oblivion for, creating these environmental hazards, basically like any repercussions, like any fines, are just an expense.
Right.
Like if you made more profit to do the thing than it costs you, even by breaking the law, it's a net win. But he's making the case of what are the intangible things, where, in this case, it's like, it turns out a lot of people got sick and there are a lot of birth defects and we got sued. And ultimately it cost us more to fight the litigation than it would have cost to do the right thing. Also, there's some collateral damage, which doesn't affect me personally. But if you're a conscientious person, then you can realize like, oh, maybe thalidomide wasn't the, shit hot solution to everything.
Right. Which insurance company did you say you worked for again?
A major one.
Yeah, look up Love Canal, the Ford Pinto, et cetera, whatever. And honestly, you know what? Go on ProPublica and look up the kind of stuff they're reporting on these days. Yeah. In fact, give ProPublica some of your money. They are doing important journalistic work in a world which is lacking quite a bit of that.
Yeah, look up anything. In the search bar, just type a wild card. Just type in an asterisk. You'll find something you'll get mad about. But yeah, he concludes the speech just basically being like, we've got to stop making the wrong choices. And after a global pandemic and lockdown where we're still getting op-eds about return to office, clearly corporate America is not doing that.
Yeah,
because there was a time, like you remember during lockdown, where we're just like, if we reduce our pollution levels to this,
yeah,
we might make it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, you got to commute to Irvine again.
Yeah, it's like,
we have a lot of commercial real estate that we don't want to take a bath on.
That's exactly right.
Even though, like, corporate controlled, federal government will bail out anyone who's like, oh, like, we have all this real estate. Will you buy it from us for more than it's worth? Like, we got the same thing with, like, the auto bailout. Like, the government will, in its fealty to corporations, bail out, commercial real estate at the cost of U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
Like, but no, in the short term, we're like, yeah, you got to drive to work still.
Fuck you. I'm unemployable.
Yeah, you have to lose an hour out of your day both ways. And you got to go buy lunch from somewhere rather than just eat at home.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sit with a bunch of people you don't like and get interrupted. I think that's outside the scope of Earth Day. I might be projecting a little.
The point is, fuck a job.
Right, yeah. Works for jerks, I believe you said.
Yes.
You stated.
In the words of George Michael, hey jerk, you work. This boy's got better things to do.
Yeah.
Boys in leather kiss girls in pearls.
Yeah. If you're tired of all this environmental stuff, the special is right there with you, because this is the point where Danny DeVito's character has nodded off.
Yeah.
It is a lot to take in for him and for us. But then he does enter kind of a dream state where he meets his buddies, who happen to be famous asshole Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, and notable missing celebrity Rick Moranis.
Right. And this is the point where Vic, that's Danny DeVito's character, realizes that his friends are actually assholes.
Right. Yeah. This is a good another encapsulation of what happens if you try to be just like considerate.
Yeah.
Like your jackass friends are going to bully you for thinking about other people.
Yeah, they're going to call you cringe and gay for caring.
Yeah, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, hey, you want to go hunting? I'm just going to kill a bunch of animals for no reason. What do you think of that? Are you triggered, my dear bitch? Like, that's basically what his friends are doing to him.
Yeah, and it's really funny that, again, it's like probably Chevy Chase playing himself.
Right, yeah. he's perfectly cast. Yes.
I mean, I don't know if he like hunts big game or anything, but he is like famously just a rich dickhead that no one likes.
Yeah, no, I mean, he is notably that. So yeah, he has his three friends there who are basically bullying him back to the status quo. There is a kind of ray of hope in this, which is, if you want to be cynical and look like the metatextual takeaway for this, it is instructive to note how effective derision is at influencing people. Because Jen, like you said earlier on, like the Earth Day special could be considered naive because it is making a sincere plea to people's like better nature. Mm-hmm. Being like, hey, this is my kid who got cancer because of pollution, and on and on. It's like, this could happen to you if you only were considerate of other people besides yourself. But maybe if you just kind of flip that around to like, don't be a dumb jagoff who doesn't give a shit about other people, perhaps you can, I don't know, bully people into being nicer, which I realize is a little ironic, but yeah, it's
like
part
the kind of thing that we've seen, which has been effective on social media. It's well placed bullying. Let's say,
right, yeah.
It's punch up, not down.
No, punch whoever deserves it. And like when Jen, you know more about this, that reporter was like, "Oh, I consulted AI on a bunch of stuff, and it gave me a bunch of lies that I then reprinted." And they like doubled down on it.
Right.
So yeah, that kind of bullying where it's like, no man, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that reaction from the bit of Vic being like, well, my jackass friends are telling me don't care about stuff. And we can see that culturally that has been a pretty pervasive mindset, because it is like a lot harder to admit that you like genuinely are affected by something or you enjoy something sincerely rather than just be like, to like something ironically or to do it like for the lulls out of like some like disaffected cynicism.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have that shield where it's like, I don't have to care about the earth, I can just like go, kill animals and pollute and whatever. Like I'm a tough guy, like I don't have to be concerned about how other things affect me. Where it's like, you aren't being tough, you're being dumb.
Yeah.
So there kids, I'm going to turn my chair around. Don't be dumb, care about the environment. And even that, I'm doing a fucking ironic bit.
Yeah,
see?
it's
Do you see how fucking pervasive it is? I'm Gen X, I can't help it.
Yeah, it's hard,
Groovy.
but don't be like a lot of Gen Xers I see on social media. Be a care lord.
No, I'm not. No, I am not friends with my like high school classmates on Boomer Book. I'm not going to be like that.
Fuck that platform. But anyway, where are we in the special? Speaking of assholes who just make fun of people, the Bundy household.
Yeah.
Like it hit me because Married with Children is also like Golden Girls, etc. Another kind of durable sitcom, loved years later. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like the Bundys really are like the platonic ideal of the American family.
Yeah, just boorish and lazy.
Yeah.
And really just like not seeing their own, shortcomings.
Right.
Because they do have like kind of a sentimental moment at the end of it, because it is, Marcy Darcy saying like, yeah, maybe you should clean up your garbage and, like all the garbage on your lawn. And she just kind of, she makes a point too, like to take, like the global and make it, personal, where, just casually mentioning to Peg, like, hey, imagine what this place would look like if you cleaned it ever.
See, folks, she's bad at housekeeping.
Yeah. It's like,
she looks good while not cleaning, though. I'll give her that.
Yeah, that's not really her thing. So it's like, can you imagine how nice your home would be if you took care of it? And it's like, get it?
Yeah, and then finally when when she realizes like, you can't make these people care, she appeals to their naked greed, which is like, hey,
right.
You can get some cash back for your garbage.
Right, yeah. And man, there's a lot of garbage in that house.
Yeah, it's a funny segment because it's truthful to the source material and also has something right to say about America.
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't undergo like a drastic personal change in their character. They continue to act like the Bundys in the context of caring about the environment.
Yeah, like Al Bundy is still going to go to his no ma'am meetups.
Right, yeah.
But hey, baby steps.
Yeah, but he might, collect the beer cans afterwards and, get the,
the
80
5
cents in
cents.
recycling. But hey, 80 cents, that'll buy you a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Because it was still 1990.
Hey, but it's not packed in polystyrene anymore.
Right, yeah.
Damn, I really want a fat burger shake.
Okay, look, let's just try to get through the next 2 hours of this podcast, and then you can have a sip of a shake.
Yeah, and let's not talk about the impact of industrial scale dairy farming on our environment. We're almost to the end here. We get a brief segment with Meryl Streep and Kevin Costner, two of the biggest stars. Not just in the United States, but like, across the globe. And I can't tell if this is how it was written or if they are genuinely under rehearsed.
How do you mean?
Well, because there are a lot of blown lines in this, which, at least certainly in Meryl's case, she can sell as just kind of like a genuine moment from the character. Like, oh, I'm so mixed up about the environment. Like, I need a drink and I can't even remember all these sobering statistics that I've learned. She's able to put it across as that and not just like, oh shit, like we got asked to do this like yesterday. We have like half hour to shoot it. We're doing this for scale. I barely know my lines, and it's really hard to remember dry statistics like off the cuff.
Oh no, I mean, I take that as completely intentional because you need only rewind about an hour or so in this podcast to understand that in this special, because it is a really well crafted segment. Like they understand the audience's attention and the way that the audience's attention can be exhausted. Like there's a point where, Vic, the audience insert character, has fallen asleep because it's like you've just been banged over the head with statistics and like doom and gloom, and it's like, I just want to hang out with my friends and like play poker. I just want to watch game shows and Married with Children. And it can be exhausting having all this information thrown at you, especially when the information is just dire as fuck. So in this case, Meryl Streep is the audience surrogate because she is, say that you're a motivated person who has just watched this special and you have to do a podcast on it that night. We're like, oh my God, did you guys know that we produce 3 or 4 pounds of garbage every year? No, every day. Every day? That can't be right. A ton of pollution. Fuck. Look, I know that environment is important and pollution is bad, but like if you talk to someone about it, like you're gonna be all flustered because you don't have your talking points, or maybe you host a podcast and you have executive dysfunction. But the special acknowledges that like we've thrown a lot of information at you and you don't really have an idea of what to do with it. So Costner again is taking this global problem and scaling it down to personal action, where it's saying like, look, I don't own a cruise ship and I don't know how to make an electric car. And he's like, well, if you put like 1 can for trash and 1 can for recycling, you're already making a difference. Like, don't give in to despair that you can't solve the problem all at once. You can solve the problem incrementally. And that, helps Meryl Streep, poor beleaguered Meryl Streep, to feel a little better about what people can actually do. Like, on an individual level, yes, people can do something, whether it is printing the receiver of a Glock at home and taking a bus to New York, writing, phrases on bullets yourself rather than having it done at a shop. There are a lot of options. Like you can sink a cruise ship on your own. You can throw sand in a Gulfstream's engine. You can get the home address of oil executives.
Now you're fucking talking.
Right, yeah.
We're providing the stuff that is too spicy for the 1990 version, folks.
Right, yeah. I don't know if Meryl Streep has killed anyone or not, but I mean, hey, that's the way to do it. Just don't get caught.
You don't get that successful in Hollywood without breaking a few eggs. But I thought, and also
breaking a few legs.
And also, Kevin Costner himself is extremely environmentally friendly because he is 100% recycled wood.
He's biodegradable himself. Yes.
It's 1990. I mean, come on, folks. You know it's true. What happened to that bright young actor from Silverado? But hey, I think his heart is in the right place. When you said...
I believe it.
When you said earlier, just rewind, a little ways back in this podcast. Yeah. I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to say that we are the Meryl Streep and Kevin Costner of podcasting.
Hey, you heard it here first. If we're well-meaning and don't have our facts straight, yes, we are absolutely Meryl Streep.
Do you want to be Meryl or should I? I don't want to be Kevin Costner.
Well, Well, I guess it can be heteronormative.
Yeah, I just don't want to vote Republican.
Why would you? I mean, have you been watching the Earth Day special or not?
I'm pretty sure that Kevin Costner is a Republican.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah. Anyway, watch Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, watch Horizon, or watch a third of it in 3 hours.
And then fall asleep like Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And I have a dream about getting bullied by Chevy Chase for giving a shit.
I mean, that's any encounter with Chevy Chase, but yeah.
Okay, I ran out of notes here because I think I was feeling as fatigued as Meryl. And we are at just under 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So are we at the end of the special? I forget.
We're getting close. Doogie Howser, like, we have a lot of speeches at the end, which is fine if you're the sort of person who enjoys political rallies.
Nerd!
Doogie gives a speech. Yeah. Doogie gives a speech which is basically like, you all are lazy and capricious bastards.
Guilty.
Yeah. Get your shit together.
I mean, hey, just imagine what Dr. House would have said.
That cane would have been broken by the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Broken off in someone's ass. There's a segment with Cheers where everyone has, their authentic character's reaction to environmentalism. And, Norm makes the point that, all these activities, this overconsumption is driving pollution and global warming. And he's like, oh, just by sitting around and doing nothing, we're doing our part, which Norm is great at.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
I excel at sitting around and doing nothing.
Yes, even by doing nothing, you're helping.
God, I feel so virtuous.
Right, yeah. It wraps up with a song from Barbra Streisand, like we mentioned. Bette Midler, as Earth, gives a talk. It's basically saying, like, get out there and do something. Even if you can't do a lot, do something is more than nothing.
Yeah, because at first, she's in character as Mother Earth, and then she drops the act and addresses the audience directly as Bette Midler. And Bette Midler wants us to do our part.
Right. Yeah.
Washed up psycho Bette Midler.
The takeaway from it is, everyone just it's asking everyone to commit to taking some small action as well as they're able. I know you do want to wrap this up, but the flip side of that coin is non-individuals, the larger organizations, institutions that have displayed none of the resolve of people working on an individual level. Like, I hate to quote the sort of cynical bromide from Men in Black, which is just, a person is smart, people are stupid.
Right, but also,
and yet,
but people can also act in solidarity, and I think that's important to keep in mind in 2025. A more cynical time, but also a more knowledgeable time, and occasionally we are all capable of learning from our mistakes and from history in the past. So, if you take anything away from this, we're not beat yet.
Yeah. More work needs to be done on organizational change. So, get organized. Yeah.
And in fact, I think that a lot of comrades in 1990 could have told you, like, of course the corporations aren't going to do anything. They're beholden to capital.
Yeah.
It's still true, folks. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the special tells you themselves, like, go to your local library and check out a book on what you can do to do your part to help the environment. And you would have known about this from the news, or from social media, the surprising sudden popularity of this declassified ebook from the CIA, which was the Simple Sabotage Field Manual. So yeah, go to your local library and maybe check that out.
Yeah, and as I alluded to earlier, the special is available on the Internet Archive, even if only for historical purposes. You can check it out there. And in the meantime, take action. Pick up your garbage. Don't be a Bundy.
Yeah, stop pouring your paint down the drain. you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, you can show your support by going to patreon.com/haveyouseenthis and make a pledge at the $2 or $5 tier. $5 a month gets the latest episode before everyone else, plus access to our Discord, where we're always arguing about movies. If you'd like to give us a tip, our Ko-Fi link is in the show notes.
Have you seen this? The show that regularly slips under the low bar.